The tent's braziers flickered, casting jagged shadows on the canvas walls. Renly Baratheon, resplendent in green velvet, paced before a map of Westeros, his crown glinting. "Stannis will bend, Catelyn," he said, voice smooth as summer wine. "My army dwarfs his, the Iron Throne is mine." Catelyn Stark, seated stiffly, frowned. "Your brother Stannis trusts in fire and shadow, not men. Beware his priestess." Her blue eyes, weary from Robb's wars, held a mother's warning. Brienne of Tarth stood rigid by the tent flap, her hand on her sword. Her armor, too large for her frame, clinked softly. She scanned the darkness beyond, uneasy. The air felt wrong, too cold for a Stormland's night. Her breath caught as a chill slithered down her spine. Lora's Tyrell, golden and fierce, leaned against a pole. "Stannis is a fool, hiding behind that red witch. We should strike now, Renly." His eyes burned with devotion, more lover than knight. Renly laughed, tossing dark hair. "Patience, Loras, let him stew at Storm's End. The Reach's banners fly for me." He turned to Catelyn. "Will Robb join us?" The North could tip the scales. Before Catelyn could answer, Brienne's gaze snapped to the tent's far wall. A shadow moved, unnatural, defying the brazier's glow, a blade of darkness coiling like smoke. Her heart thundered. "Renly," she roared, lunging forward. She tackled him to the ground, her bulk crushing the air from his lungs. A hiss sliced the air where he'd stood, the shadow striking the canvas, tearing it before fading. Renly gasped, sprawled beneath her. "Brienne, what?" Catelyn leapt up, dagger drawn, eyes wide. "Sorcery, Stannis' work." The tent guards rushed in, swords bared, but the threat was gone. Brienne rose, trembling, her blue eyes scanning the dark. "A shadow," she whispered. "It meant to kill you, my lord." Renly stood, pale but composed. "Stannis' red witch, no doubt," he said, voice steadying. "He's desperate, turning to black magic." He clasped Brienne's shoulder. "You've saved me, lady, name your reward." Brienne flushed, shaking her head. "My oath is enough, my lord." But the shadow's chill lingered in her bones, unnatural, unholy. Loras drew his sword, fury etching his face. "We march on Stannis tonight, let's burn his witch." His voice carried outside, where bannermen gathered, murmuring of sorcery. Catelyn's voice cut through. "This strengthens your cause, Renly, but beware. Stannis is not your only foe. Tywin Lannister watches, and he's desperate for allies." Renly's eyes narrowed, the seed of an idea planted. "Let them fear me," he said, stepping into the night to rally his lords, accusing Stannis of heresy. The Iron Throne felt closer, but the shadow's echo haunted Brienne's dreams. The hall at Bitterbridge glowed with torchlight, tables laden with roasted boar and arbor gold. Renly Baratheon, crowned in gold, stood at the high table, his smile a beacon. "To victory," he toasted, raising a goblet. Lords of the Reach and Stormlands roared, their voices drowning out the minstrels' lutes. Margaery Tyrell, radiant in green silk, sat beside him, her eyes sharp. Renly plucked a peach from a silver bowl and pressed it into her hand. "A crown for my queen," he said, voice warm. Her smile was calculated, a promise of power. "You honor me, my lord," she replied, biting the fruit, juice glistening on her lips. Catelyn Stark watched from a lower table, her tully blue cloak stark among Tyrell roses. Renly's charm was undeniable, but his youth troubled her. Robb's victories at Oxcross and Harrenhal proved him a warrior. Renly played at king. She sipped her wine, noting Loras Tyrell's gaze fixed on Renly, fierce and unguarded. Brienne stood at the hall's edge, armor gleaming, still shaken by the shadow's chill. Her eyes tracked every shadow, every servant. "He's too careless," she muttered, gripping her sword. A Stormlands knight nearby scoffed. "Let him feast, Stannis is broken." Renly addressed the hall. "Stannis' sorcery failed, the gods favor us." Cheers erupted, but Catelyn saw lords whispering, some doubted a prolonged war. News had come of Robb's triumphs, his banners sweeping the riverlands. Renly leaned toward Margaery. "Should I court the young wolf, my lady?" Margaery's voice was soft, insistent. "Your throne needs no rival, Renly. Crown yourself in King's Landing and Robb will kneel." Her father, Mace Tyrell, nodded, his florid face gleaming. "The Reach is yours, march south." Catelyn rose, her voice cutting through the din. "My son fights for the North's freedom, not a crown. An alliance could crush the Lannisters, but Tywin seeks allies too, desperate after Robb's victories." Her words hung, a warning of Tywin's cunning. Renly's smile faltered, then returned. "Let Tywin squirm. My army numbers 100,000. The Iron Throne awaits." He raised his goblet again, and the hall cheered, but Catelyn saw Loras's hand tighten on his cup, his devotion bordering on fury. Brienne stepped closer to Renly, her height casting a shadow. "My lord, we must guard against more shadows," she said, voice low. Renly laughed, clapping her arm. "With you, Brienne, I fear no darkness." As the feast continued, Marjorie whispered to Renly, urging a grand coronation to seal his claim. Catelyn watched, uneasy. Renly's charm bound men, but Tywin's desperation and Robb's defiance loomed. The peach's sweetness lingered, but so did the shadow's chill. Rain lashed the cliffs of Storm's End, the sea roaring below. Renly Baratheon, cloaked in green, stood beneath a truce banner, his antlered helm gleaming. Across the muddy field, Stannis Baratheon, gaunt and rigid, faced him, his red priestess Melisandre a shadow at his side. Brienne loomed behind Renly, her sword ready, eyes scanning the dark for unnatural threats. "You're no king, Renly," Stannis growled, teeth grinding. "Robert's crown is mine by right, kneel or die." His blue eyes burned, but weariness clung to him, the shadow's failure gnawing at his resolve. Renly laughed, his voice carrying over the wind. "You cling to a witch's skirts, brother. Your sorcery failed at my tent. The lords choose me." His army, a sea of banners from the Reach and Stormlands, stretched behind him, dwarfing Stannis' meager host. Melisandre's red gaze flickered. "The Lord of Light sees your doom, usurper." Her voice was silk and flame, but Renly waved her off. "Keep your fires, priestess. Westeros kneels to me, not your god." Loras Tyrell at Renly's side smirked, his hand on his sword, daring Stannis to act. Catelyn Stark, observing, noted Stannis' clenched fists. "This parley wastes time," she said. "Tywin Lannister schemes while you bicker." "His desperation grows with Robb's victories." Renly's eyes flicked to her, the name Lannister stirring thoughts of alliances yet unformed. Stannis stepped forward. "I am the rightful king. Join me, Renly, and we'll crush the Lannisters together." His plea was stiff, pride choking the words. Renly's smile was sharp. "Join you. My lords outnumber yours 10-1. Go back to Dragonstone, Stannis." Brienne shifted, hearing murmurs from Renly's retinue. A Stormlands knight muttered, "This war drags on. Tywin's gold could sway some." She silenced him with a glare, but doubt lingered. The shadow's chill still haunted her, and Stannis' priestess unnerved her more. Stannis' face darkened. "You'll rue this, boy." He turned, cloak snapping, Melisandre whispering in his ear. Renly watched them retreat, then faced his lords. "Stannis is broken. We march for King's Landing." Cheers rose, but Catelyn's warning echoed in his mind. Tywin's desperation could be a tool or a trap. As they rode back, Renly tasked Courtenay Penrose with swaying neutral houses, isolating Stannis further. Loras leaned close. "End him now, Renly. No more parleys." Renly shook his head, grinning. "Let him rot. The throne awaits." Brienne, trailing behind, gripped her sword tighter. Stannis' defeat seemed certain, but Catelyn's words about Tywin lingered. The storm raged on, and Renly's crown felt heavier under its weight. Storm's End loomed through the mist, its ancient walls defying Stannis Baratheon's siege. Catapults lobbed stones, their thuds echoing like thunder. Renly Baratheon, astride a white stallion, surveyed his encamped army, banners of rose and stag snapping in the wind. His green cloak billowed, a king's confidence in his smile. Marjorie Tyrell, radiant in a litter draped with silks, orchestrated a travelling court among the tents. Minstrels sang of Renly's escape from Stannis' sorcery, drawing cheers from knights. A king blessed by the Seven. She called, her voice carrying. Lords nodded, but some whispered of war's cost. Catelyn Stark, her auburn hair streaked with grey, approached Renly. "Your numbers hold, but supplies strain," she warned. "Stannis starves within, yet Tywin Lannister's desperation grows in the west. Robb's victories at Harrenhal weaken him. He may seek you out." Renly's eyes gleamed, the idea of Tywin's gold tempting. Brienne of Tarth stood guard, her armor a bulwark against the damp. The shadow's chill lingered in her memory, making every flicker suspect. She overheard a Reach knight grumble, "This siege delays us. King's Landing awaits." Brienne's jaw tightened. Renly's safety was her oath, not their haste. Renly dismounted, clapping Loras Tyrell's shoulder. "Stannis withers, Loras, let him rot." Loras, golden and restless, frowned. "End it swiftly, my lord. The throne calls." His hand brushed Renly's, a fleeting touch unnoticed by most, but not Catelyn's sharp eyes. Renly sent Sir Courtenay Penrose to sway neutral houses, his diplomacy cutting Stannis' allies. Every lord who bends strengthens us. Renly told his council, voice bright. Mace Tyrell, florid and beaming, agreed. The Reach's wealth sustains us. March south soon, your grace. Catelyn's voice cut through. Wealth buys swords, not loyalty. Tywin's cunning could turn your allies if he offers gold. Renly waved her off, laughing. Let Tywin scheme. My army is unmatched. But her words lingered, a shadow as real as the one Brienne thwarted. At night, Brienne patrolled the camp, her height daunting deserters. A Stormland squire whispered of Tywin's ravens circling neutral lords seeking allies. Brienne silenced him, but doubt gnawed. Stannis' siege was a distraction. Greater threats loomed. Renly in his tent pored over maps, Marjorie at his side. A coronation in King's Landing, she urged, her hand on his. Show Westeros your strength. Renly nodded, envisioning the Iron Throne. Yet Catelyn's warning of Tywin echoed, a faint crack in his certainty. As dawn broke, Storm's End stood unyielding, but Stannis' banners dwindled. Renly's confidence soared, blind to the storm gathering beyond. Tywin's desperation, Robb's defiance, and the shadow's lingering chill in Brienne's heart. The camp at Bitterbridge buzzed with the clatter of steel and the scent of roasting venison. Renly Baratheon, crowned and cloaked in green, sat in his pavilion, Marjorie Tyrell at his side, her smile a polished gem. Storm's End held firm against Stannis, but Renly's eyes were on King's Landing. Catelyn Stark returned, her face etched with the North's burdens. Robb offers an alliance. She said, voice steady, join him against the Lannisters and he'll keep the North's autonomy. Renly's brow arched, intrigued but wary. Robb's victories at Harrenhal prove his worth, Catelyn added. Tywin's desperate, seeking allies. Marjorie's hand grazed Renly's. The Iron Throne needs no equal, my lord. Take King's Landing alone. Her voice was honey, but her eyes calculated. Loras Tyrell, pacing, nodded. We don't need the North's wolves, our banners are enough. Brienne, guarding the tent, clenched her sword hilt. The shadow's chill lingered in her memory, making her doubt Renly's safety amid growing ambitions. She scanned the entrance as a new figure strode in. Theon Greyjoy, Robb's envoy, his smirk sharp as a kraken's beak. Theon bowed mockingly. The young wolf proposes a joint strike on King's Landing. Split the Lannisters' gold, crush Tywin. His salt-stained cloak reeked of the sea, and his arrogance grated Loras, whose hand twitched toward his blade. Ironborn, Loras spat. You'd loot the throne, not win it. Renly leaned forward, charm masking his caution. Robb's bold, sending a Greyjoy. But why share my victory? My army dwarfs yours. Theon's grin didn't waver. Robb's wolves tear Tywin apart. Join us or face him alone later. His tone carried a veiled threat, stirring Brienne's unease. Catelyn's voice cut through. Tywin's desperation grows. He'll court any lord to save his house. An alliance with Robb could end him swiftly. Renly's smile tightened, Tywin's name sparking thoughts of gold and treachery. He waved Theon off. I'll consider it. Stay, enjoy our hospitality. Theon's eyes lingered on Loras, taunting. Pretty knights don't win wars, he said, striding out. Loras lunged, but Brienne blocked him, her bulk a wall. He's not worth it, she growled, though her heart raced, fearing Theon's insolence hid deeper plots. Marjorie whispered to Renly, Theon's a liability. March south, claim your crown. Renly nodded, but Catelyn's warning echoed. Tywin's desperation could shift the game. He tasked a Maester with drafting a reply to Robb, probing his terms while his mind turned to Lannister gold as a counterweight. As night fell, Brienne stood watch, the camp's fires casting long shadows. Theon's arrival stirred unrest, and Tywin's shadow loomed larger. Renly's throne seemed closer, but the North's defiance and Lannister cunning threatened to unravel his golden dream. Mist clung to the Rainwood's ancient trees, muffling the clink of armor. Renly Baratheon, astride his destrier, led his host through the forest, green cloak trailing like a banner. Stannis Baratheon's weakened army, ravaged by Melisandre's misfired curse, camped nearby, unaware of the ambush. Renly's eyes gleamed with certainty. Brienne of Tarth at his side gripped her sword, the shadow's chill still haunting her. Stay close, my lord, she urged, scanning the fog. Loras Tyrell, resplendent in enameled armor, rode beside her, his grin fierce. Today we end Stannis, he said, voice alight with zeal. Randall Tarly, grim and grizzled, reined up. Strike hard, but don't underestimate Stannis, your grace, and beware Tywin Lannister's moves at Harrenhal. He's desperate for allies. Renly waved him off. Tywin's broken. Today I claim my brother's men. The signal horn blared and Renly's knights charged. Brienne roared, her blade cleaving through Stannis' scouts. Loras's lance felled a knight, his laughter wild. Reachmen and Stormlanders poured from the mist, overwhelming Stannis' camp. Tents burned, men screamed, and the Red Priestess's chants faltered under steel's din. Stannis, clad in blackened plate, rallied his corps, his sword flashing. "Hold, damn you," he bellowed, but his men broke, plague weakened and demoralized. Brienne cut a path to Renly, shielding him as arrows flew. Loras unhorsed a captain, shouting for Renly, the true king. The rout was swift. Stannis fled with a handful, vanishing into the forest toward ships bound for Dragonstone. Renly's army cheered, hailing him as invincible. He raised his sword-crowned silhouette stark against the flames. "The gods favor us," he cried, voice carrying over the carnage. Back at camp, lords feasted, toasting Renly's triumph. Margaery Tyrell, radiant, kissed his cheek. "Your throne is certain now," she purred, urging a coronation. Catelyn Stark, silent, watched Theon Greyjoy's sly smirk among the revelers, his iron-born insolence grating Loras. Tarly approached Renly, voice low. "Victory blinds you, your grace. Stannis' lives and Tywin's desperation grows. He'll court your lords with gold." Renly laughed, drunk on glory. "Let Tywin beg, my crown is won." But Catelyn's gaze met Brienne's, both uneasy. Brienne, standing guard, felt the shadows echo in the firelight. The Rainwood's blood soaked her boots, and Theon's presence stirred distrust. She overheard a night whisper of Tywin's ravens circling, seeking allies. Her oath bound her to Renly, but doubt gnawed. His hubris invited new threats. As dawn broke, Renly planned his march south, the Iron Throne vivid in his mind. Margaery's ambition and Tywin's cunning loomed while Theon's scheme simmered. The Rainwood's victory crowned Renly, but the storm of war gathered strength beyond the trees. The Bitterbridge camp hummed with victory's afterglow, Renly Baratheon's green and gold pavilion aglow under torchlight. The Rainwood triumph had broken Stannis, and Renly's lords revelled, their cheers echoing. Margaery Tyrell, poised beside him, wove tales of his glory, her smile binding loyalties. Brienne stood guard, her armour a steadfast vow. The shadow's chill lingered, sharpening her watch over Renly. Loras Tyrell, polishing his sword, glared at Theon Greyjoy, whose smirk grated. Theon, Robb's envoy, lounged among knights, his iron-born swagger clashing with Reachman's finery. A salt-stained rider delivered Balon Greyjoy's letter. Renly read aloud. "Ironborn will raid Lannister lands for independence." Silence fell. Mace Tyrell, florid, scoffed. "Pirates, they'll loot us next." Renly's eyes narrowed, weighing Balon's offer against Tywin Lannister's desperation at Harrenhal. Catelyn Stark spoke, voice sharp. "Robb fights Tywin now. Balon's raids could aid us, but his price is steep. Tywin's gold seeks allies too." Renly's smile tightened, Tywin's cunning a shadow on his plans. Margaery leaned close. "You need no reavers, my lord. Your throne is certain." Theon stood, grin sharp as a dagger. "Ironborn don't kneel, Baratheon. Take father's deal or we raid all coasts." Loras surged forward, snarling, "Threaten us again, squid." Brienne stepped between, her bulk halting him. "Enough," she growled, eyes on Theon's calculated gaze. Renly waved dismissively. "I'll consider Balon's terms, Theon, stay." But Theon's smirk widened. "I've seen enough of your silks." He strode out, vanishing into the night, bound for Pike. Brienne's gut twisted, his departure spelled trouble, perhaps betrayal. Margaery's voice was silk. "Forget the Ironborn, march to King's Landing, show your strength." Renly nodded, envisioning a coronation, but Catelyn's warning lingered. "Tywin's desperation grows," she said. "He'll court your lords or worse." Renly laughed. "Let him try. My army's unmatched." Loras, still fuming, pressed Renly. "Send riders after Theon, he's a snake." Renly shook his head, charm unshaken. "Let him run, the throne's mine." But Brienne overheard knights whispering of Tywin's ravens, offering gold to wavering houses. Her oath held, but doubt gnawed. In the camp's heart, Margaery orchestrated a spectacle, knights parading, minstrels praising Renly's Rainwood victory. Lords cheered, but some eyed the horizon, where Tywin's shadow loomed. Renly tasked Courtenay Penrose with securing more houses, isolating Stannis further. As stars emerged, Brienne patrolled, the camp's fires casting long shadows. Theon's flight and Tywin's cunning stirred unease, echoing the shadow's chill. Renly's crown gleamed, but Balon's offer and Lannister gold threatened to crack his golden dream. The march south loomed, fraught with unseen storms. Dust rose from the Rose Road as Renly Baratheon's army marched, a river of green and gold. Banners of rose and stag snapped above knights, small folk cheering their crowned king. Renly, astride a palfrey, waved, his smile a beacon. Marjorie Tyrell, in a gilded litter, orchestrated the spectacle, minstrels singing of the Rainwood's triumph. Brienne of Tarth rode at Renly's side, her armor gleaming, eyes scanning for threats. The shadow's chill lingered, making every shadow suspect. She noted strained supply carts, overburdened by the army's size. Small folk, once adoring, now grumbled as soldiers requisitioned grain. Catelyn Stark, riding beside Loras Tyrell, spoke sharply. "Your host is vast, Renly, but supplies dwindle. Small folk resent you." Tywin Lannister, battered at Harrenhal, seeks allies in his desperation. Renly's grin faltered, Tywin's name stirring thoughts of gold. "My lords are loyal," he said, dismissing her. Loras, resplendent, leaned close. "Forget Stark's gloom, my lord. King's Landing awaits your crown." His hand brushed Renly's, a fleeting touch. Marjorie's eyes caught it, her smile tightening. She urged, "A coronation will bind them, your grace. March swiftly." Renly nodded, envisioning the Iron Throne. But whispers reached Brienne. Knights spoke of Tywin's ravens, offering Casterly Rock's wealth to wavering houses. She gripped her sword, uneasy. Theon Greyjoy's flight to Pike lingered in her mind, a betrayal brewing beyond reach. In a village, small folk jeered as knights seized livestock. A woman spat, "Your king starves us." Brienne dismounted, calming the crowd, but their anger simmered. She reported to Renly, voice low. "The people turn, my lord, we must ease their burden." Renly waved her off. "They'll love me when I'm crowned." Catelyn pressed again. "Tywin retreats to Casterly Rock, but his gold speaks. He'll court your lords or worse." Renly's eyes narrowed, considering Tywin as a tool against Robb's defiance. "Let him scheme," he said, but tasked a Maester with drafting a cautious letter to Tywin, probing his intent. Marjorie's voice was silk. "The throne is yours alone, Renly, no Lannister deals." Her ambition clashed with Catelyn's pragmatism, and Loras's glare silenced doubters, but Brienne overheard a Stormlands knight whisper, "Tywin's gold could end this war." Her oath held, but fear grew. As dusk fell, the army camped, fires dotting the plain. Marjorie's spectacle, knights jousting, banners raised, kept morale high, but cracks showed. Renly pored over maps, the Iron Throne vivid. Tywin's desperation and Robb's strength loomed, threatening his golden dream. Brienne stood watch, the shadows echo in the firelight. The march south promised glory, but small folk's anger, Tywin's cunning, and Theon's schemes cast long shadows. Renly's crown gleamed, but its weight grew heavier with every step. King's Landing stank of fear and pitch, the Blackwater gleaming under torchlight. Tyrion Lannister atop the city's walls surveyed defences, his mismatched eyes sharp. Renly Baratheon's army approached, a tide of green and gold, its numbers crushing. Tyrion's chain across the river gleamed, a desperate trap. In the red keep, Cersei paced, her golden hair tangled. "Use the wildfire, Tyrion," she snapped, clutching Joffrey's arm. The boy king sneered, "Burn them all." Tyrion shook his head, wary of catastrophe. "A spark could doom us, Cersei." "We hold the walls." His voice hid dread. Varys, spider-like, whispered, "Renly's lords waver. My birds can bribe the weakest." Tyrion nodded, dispatching gold to sway reachmen. A raven from Tywin, battered at Harrenhal, arrived, its message stark. "Ally with Renly against Robb Stark. Our house hangs by a thread." Tyrion's jaw tightened. Tywin's desperation was a gambit. In Renly's camp, miles away, the Rose Road buzzed with anticipation. Renly, crowned and radiant, rode beside Marjorie Tyrell, her litter a spectacle. Brienne, ever vigilant, scanned for threats, the shadows chill haunting her. Loras Tyrell at Renly's side urged, "Storm the city, my lord, your throne awaits." Catelyn Stark, her face lined, spoke, "Tywin's offer is a trap, Renly. His gold courts your lords, but Robb's strength could win this war." Renly's smile was sharp. "Tywin's weak. I'll consider his words, but the Iron Throne is mine." He clutched Tywin's letter, gold tempting his ambition. Tyrion in the city oversaw scorpions and archers, his mind racing. Tywin's retreat to Casterly Rock left King's Landing vulnerable, but Renly's host was vast. "We need time," Tyrion muttered, ordering pitch barrels readied. Varys returned, reporting bribes sent to Renly's lesser lords sowing discord. Cersei stormed in, eyes wild. "If we fall, Tommen dies." Tyrion sighed, "Flee if it comes to that, sister." Her glare was venom, but she prepared an escape with Tommen. Joffrey, petulant, demanded heads. Tyrion ignored him, focusing on the chain and wildfire caches, praying for a miracle. Renly's camp swelled with recruits, small folk cheering despite their hunger. Marjorie's voice was silk. "Crown yourself in the Red Keep, my lord." Renly nodded, Tywin's offer stirring thoughts of crushing Robb with Lannister gold. Brienne, overhearing Knight's whisper of bribes, gripped her sword, loyalty unshaken. As night fell, King's Landing's walls loomed, Tyrion's defiance a flicker against Renly's tide. Brienne stood watch, the shadows echo in the stars. Tywin's letter, Varys' schemes, and Cersei's desperation cast long shadows. Renly's crown gleamed, but the Blackwater promised blood, and Tywin's gambit threatened to shift the war's tide. The Blackwater rush gleamed under moonlight, its surface a mirror for fire and steel. Renly Baratheon's army camped on its banks, green and gold banners snapping. His fleet, led by Garland Tyrell, faced Stannis Baratheon's ships, sent from Dragonstone to harass supplies. Renly, crowned, watched from a hill, Tywin's letter heavy in his thoughts. Brienne of Tarth stood beside him, her armor a bulwark. The shadow's chill haunted her, sharpening her gaze. "Stay back, my lord," she urged, eyeing the river's dark ripples. Loras Tyrell, gleaming in plate, pressed, "Lead us, Renly, the throne's yours." His fervor masked a lover's plea. In King's Landing, Tyrion Lannister manned the walls, his chain across the Blackwater taut. "Hold the river," he barked, scorpions primed. Cersei, clutching Joffrey, demanded wildfire. Tyrion hesitated, fearing ruin. "We'll burn ourselves," he muttered, but readied barrels. Tywin's desperate alliance offer echoing, join Renly to crush Robb. Renly's horns blared and Garland's ships charged. Stannis' fleet met them, arrows flying. Fireballs arced, sinking Reachman galleys. Wildfire erupted, green flames consuming a Tyrell ship, screams piercing the night. Renly flinched, the slaughter shaking his resolve. Marjorie in her litter urged, "Claim this victory, my lord." On land, Brienne led a charge to the mud gate, her sword cleaving Lannister men. "For Renly." She roared, breaching the gate. Blood soaked her boots, the shadows echo spurring her. Loras fought beside her, his blade a blur, shouting, "The throne is ours." The city's defenses crumbled under their tide. Tyrion atop the walls cursed as the gate fell. "Raise the chain," he shouted, trapping Renly's ships. Wildfire flared again, but sparingly, Tyrion's caution saving the city from total ruin. Cersei screamed, "Burn them." Joffrey laughed, cruel and useless. Tyrion ignored them, eyeing Varys' return. Bribes to Renly's lords had failed. Renly hesitated on the hill, Tywin's offer tempting. A Lannister alliance could secure the war, especially against Robb's defiance. Marjorie's voice cut through. "Enter the city, your grace, be their king." Her ambition steadied him, but the flames below churned his stomach. Catelyn Stark nearby warned, "Tywin's gold is poison, Renly, trust Robb instead." Her words clashed with Marjorie's, but Renly's eyes fixed on the burning river. The Iron Throne loomed, its cost in blood vivid. He clutched Tywin's letter, torn between glory and pragmatism. Brienne returned, bloodied but unbowed, reporting the gate's fall. "The city's yours, my lord," Renly nodded, steeling himself. The Blackwater burned, Stannis' ships fled, and Tyrion's defiance waned. Tywin's desperation and Robb's strength loomed, but Renly's crown was within reach, its weight heavier with every scream. King's Landing burned, wildfire's green glow fading as dawn broke. Renly Baratheon's army stormed the breached mud gate, Reachmen and Stormlanders flooding the streets. Brienne of Tarth, blood-streaked, led the vanguard, her sword a beacon. "For Renly," she roared, cutting through Lannister guards, the shadows chill spurring her. Renly rode in, crowned and radiant, Marjorie Tyrell at his side, her litter draped in roses. The small folk cheered, awed by his splendor, though hunger lingered in their eyes. Loras Tyrell, gleaming, stayed close, his gaze fierce. "The throne's yours, my lord," he whispered, voice thick with pride. In the Red Keep, Tyrion Lannister faced defeat. The walls had fallen, his chain broken. Cersei, clutching Tommen, fled through secret passages, her golden hair veiled. "We'll rise again," she hissed, vanishing to Casterly Rock or beyond. Joffrey, petulant, was seized by Renly's knights, his crown clattering to the floor. Tyrion surrendered, his mismatched eyes weary. "Spare me, Baratheon, and Varys' secrets are yours," he offered, voice steady. Renly, entering the throne room, nodded, intrigued by Tyrion's cunning and Tywin's desperate alliance letter. "Chain him," Renly commanded, sparing Tyrion for now. Sansa Stark, freed from her chambers, knelt before Renly, her auburn hair trembling. "Mercy for my family, your grace," she pleaded, eyes wet. Renly, moved, lifted her gently. "You're safe, Lady Stark," he said, but Robb's defiance and Tywin's offer weighed on him. Margaery's voice was silk. "Claim the Iron Throne, my lord. Show Westeros your strength." Renly ascended the jagged seat, its blades cold under his hands. Lords cheered, but Catelyn Stark, watching, warned, "Tywin's gold courts your allies. His desperation could undo you or aid against Robb." Renly's smile hid unease. Tywin's letter promised troops to crush the north, tempting after Robb's rejection. "I'll consider it," he told Catelyn, envisioning Lannister wealth bolstering his reign. Loras, overhearing, frowned, his loyalty clashing with Margaery's ambition. Brienne stood guard, the shadows echo in the hall's shadows. Joffrey's capture and Cersei's flight stirred her, Lannister treachery lingered. She noted knights whispering of Tywin's ravens, offering gold. Her oath held, but the court's intrigue gnawed at her. Outside, the city smoldered, small folk looting amid ruins. Renly's banners flew, his coronation planned. Margaery orchestrated celebrations, but Catelyn's gaze met Brienne's, both wary. Tywin's desperation, Robb's strength, and Stannis' retreat loomed beyond the walls. Renly gripped the throne, its weight sinking in. The Iron Throne was his, but Sansa's plea, Tyrion's secrets, and Tywin's offer cast long shadows. The crown gleamed, but its cost in blood and betrayal threatened to unravel his golden dream as the storm of war gathered anew. The great sept of Baelor gleamed, its crystals scattering light as Renly Baratheon ascended the steps, crowned in gold. Bells rang across King's Landing, small folk cheering their new king. Margaery Tyrell, resplendent in green, stood beside him, her smile binding lords. The Iron Throne awaited, its jagged silhouette looming. Brienne of Tarth in polished armor guarded Renly, her eyes scanning the crowd. The shadow's chill lingered, making every corner suspect. Loras Tyrell, now a Kingsguard, stood rigid, his gaze fierce with devotion. Sansa Stark, freed, watched silently, her auburn hair a quiet defiance. The High Septon anointed Renly, proclaiming him king. Lords knelt, Tyrell, Stormlanders, and new allies, but tensions simmered. Mace Tyrell demanded lands, sidelining Stormland's knights. Catelyn Stark, stern, whispered. Robb refuses fealty. Tywin's desperation grows, his envoy arrives tonight. Renly's smile hid unease. Robb's rejection stung, and Tywin's letter, offering troops against the north, tempted him. He tasked Catelyn with delivering a marriage proposal to Sansa, hoping to bind Robb. "A Stark queen could unite us," he told Margaery, whose eyes narrowed, her ambition clashing in the Red Keep. Tyrion Lannister, chained but alive, watched from a shadowed hall. His surrender had spared him, Varys' secrets now Renly's. "Tywin's offer is a trap." Tyrion muttered to a guard, knowing his father's cunning. Yet Renly saw Lannister gold as a tool. At the coronation feast, minstrels sang of the Blackwater's triumph. Margaery danced with Renly, her voice silk. "Crown and queen, my lord, Westeros is yours." Loras, serving wine, glared at her closeness, his jealousy a quiet storm. Brienne, standing watch, noted knights whispering of Tywin's gold. Catelyn approached Renly. "Tywin's envoy brings terms, his army for Robb's defeat. Beware his treachery." Renly nodded, intrigued. "His desperation serves me," he said, envisioning Lannister swords crushing the north. Sansa, overhearing, paled, her brother's fate in Renly's hands. A Tyrell knight, emboldened by wine, demanded precedence over Stormlanders. "We won your throne," he slurred. Loras's hand twitched, but Renly's laugh eased tensions. "All serve the crown," he declared, charm binding them. Yet Brienne saw cracks, Tyrell ambition, Stormlander resentment, Lannister schemes. As night fell, Tywin's envoy, a lean knight, arrived kneeling. "Lord Tywin offers Casterly Rocks might to end the young wolf," he said, voice low. Renly's eyes gleamed, Tywin's desperation a weapon. Catelyn's warning echoed, but the Iron Throne's weight steadied him. Brienne, guarding the hall, felt the shadows echo in the torchlight. Tywin's envoy, Sansa's fear and Robb's defiance stirred unease. Renly's crown shone, but its cost. Alliances with treacherous lions and a fractured realm threatened to unravel his golden dream as the storm of war loomed anew. King's Landing's red keep buzzed with whispers, its halls draped in green and gold. Renly Baratheon, newly crowned, sat the Iron Throne, his charm masking unease. Margaery Tyrell, radiant as queen, wielded soft power, her smiles swaying lords. Yet cracks festered in Renly's court, Tywin's alliance offer looming large. Brienne of Tarth, a tower in armor, guarded Renly, her eyes sharp. The shadow's chill haunted her, every courtier a potential threat. Loras Tyrell in Kingsguard white stood close, his devotion fierce but strained by Margaery's grip. Sansa Stark, a silent shadow, watched, her brother Robb's fate uncertain. Margaery's influence grew, her feasts binding allies. "Your reign shines, my lord," she purred, guiding Renly's decrees. Loras bristled, his gaze lingering on Renly, jealousy simmering. Varys, now serving Renly, spread rumors. Loras's closeness undermined the queen, fraying Tyrell unity. Catelyn Stark met Renly privately. "Robb rejects your marriage offer for Sansa." Tywin's envoy presses for alliance, his gold and swords against the north. "It's a trap." Renly's smile was tight. "Tywin's desperation is my weapon," he said, tempted by Lannister might to crush Robb. Tyrion Lannister, chained in a cell, overheard guards. "Renly courts my father," he muttered, knowing Tywin's cunning. His secrets had spared him, but he warned a guard. "Tywin serves only himself." Renly, intrigued by Tyrion's mind, considered summoning him, Tywin's offer in hand. At a council, Mace Tyrell demanded rewards, lands, titles, angering Stormlanders. "We bled for you." A knight snapped. Renly's laugh eased tensions, but Varys' whispers fueled discord. Brienne, standing watch, noted Sansa's fear as Robb's defiance was discussed, her loyalty torn. Loras approached Renly, voice low. "Send Tywin's envoy away, my lord, we need no lions," Margaery countered. "Gold strengthens us, Sir Loras." Her tone was sharp, her power clear. Renly, torn, leaned toward Tywin's deal, envisioning a swift end to Robb's rebellion. Sansa, emboldened, spoke softly. "My brother fights for our home, your grace, spare him." Renly's kindness wavered, Tywin's swords tempting. Catelyn's glare met Brienne's. Both saw danger in Lannister ties. Brienne's oath held, but courtly deceit gnawed, the shadows echo in every glance. As night fell, Renly walked the throne room, Tywin's letter in hand. Margaery joined him, her touch steadying. "You're king of all, my lord." Use Tywin, then discard him. Her ambition clashed with Loras's loyalty, Varys' schemes weaving through. Brienne patrolled, hearing whispers of Tywin's gold swaying lords. The court fractured, Tyrells, Stormlanders, Lannister promises. Renly's crown gleamed, but Robb's defiance, Sansa's plea, and Tywin's cunning threatened to unravel his reign. The Iron Throne cut deeper, its storm brewing beyond the walls. The red keep's halls glowed with torchlight. Renly Baratheon's caught a tapestry of green and gold. He sat the Iron Throne, Margaery Tyrell beside him, her smile a delicate weapon. Tywin's alliance offer, swords against Robb Stark, tempted Renly, his crown heavy with ambition. Brienne of Tarth, a tower in armor, guarded him, the shadows chill ever present. At Dragonstone, Stannis Baratheon, gaunt and hollow, clung to Melisandre's visions. "Renly mocks the Lord of Light," she hissed, her red eyes blazing. "Strike his queen." Stannis nodded, dispatching assassins to King's Landing, their blades cloaked in night. His cause waned, but vengeance burned. Brienne patrolled the keep, her senses sharp. Near Margaery's chambers, a cloaked figure darted, steel glinting. Brienne roared, tackling the assassin, her sword pinning his wrist. "Who sent you?" she demanded. He spat, "The true king," before dying. Brienne's heart raced, Stannis' reach lingered. Renly, informed, clasped Brienne's shoulder. "You've saved us again, lady." His voice was warm, but his eyes flicked to Tywin's letter, Lannister gold promising strength. Margaery, pale but composed, urged, "Show your might, my lord. Tywin's swords can end Robb." Loras Tyrell in Kingsguard white fumed. "Stannis dares strike at us, march on Dragonstone." His devotion clashed with Margaery's calm ambition. Catelyn Stark, stern, warned, "Tywin's alliance is a snare, Renly. Stannis' failure strengthens you, use it, not Lannister gold." In Dragonstone's shadows, Davos Seaworth smuggled Shireen to safety, sickened by Melisandre's blood rites. "This is madness," he muttered, abandoning Stannis. The smuggler's heart broke for the girl, but his doubt in Stannis' cause freed him. Sansa Stark, watching the court, whispered to Catelyn, "Will Robb be safe?" Her fear stirred Brienne, whose oath wavered amid intrigue. Varys, weaving rumours, hinted Loras's closeness weakened Margaery's queenship, fraying Tyrell ties. Brienne overheard knights murmuring of Tywin's gold, tempting lesser lords. Renly summoned Tywin's envoy, a lean knight. "Lord Tywin pledges troops to crush the north," he said. Renly's smile was sharp. "His desperation serves me," he told Margaery, leaning toward the alliance. Catelyn's glare met Brienne's. Both saw danger in Lannister promises. Tyrion Lannister, chained below, learned of the envoy. "My father plays for power," he muttered, warning a guard. Renly, intrigued by Tyrion's cunning, considered his counsel, but Tywin's offer dazzled. Loras, jealous, pressed, "We need no lions, my lord." As night cloaked the city, Brienne stood watch, the shadows echo in the torches. Stannis' failed strike and Tywin's gold stirred unease. Renly's crown gleamed, but Varys' schemes, Sansa's fear, and Robb's defiance threatened to crack his reign. The Iron Throne cut deeper, its storm fueled by treachery and desperate alliances. The Red Keep's throne room shimmered with torchlight, Renly Baratheon's green and gold banners draping the Iron Throne. He sat, crowned, Margaery Tyrell's smile bolstering his reign. Tywin Lannister's alliance offer, swords to crush Robb Stark, gleamed like gold, tempting Renly's ambition. Brienne of Tarth, a steadfast sentinel, guarded him, the shadows chill lingering. Catelyn Stark returned, her face carved with resolve. "Robb rejects your marriage to Sansa," she said, voice sharp. "He declares the North independent." Renly's jaw tightened, Robb's defiance a thorn. Sansa nearby paled, her eyes pleading. Catelyn added, "Tywin's offer is treachery, trust Robb instead." Margaery's voice was silk. "The North bends to you, my lord, use Tywin's swords." Her ambition clashed with Loras Tyrell's glare, his Kingsguard cloak stiff with jealousy. Loras pressed, "We need no lions, Renly, march north alone." His devotion wavered under Margaery's sway. Brienne, scanning the hall, caught Varys' whispers, rumours of Loras's closeness fraying Tyrell loyalty. Knights murmured of Tywin's gold, his desperation at Harrenhal fueling bribes. Brienne's oath held, but Stannis' failed assassins and Lannister schemes stirred unease, the shadows echo in every glance. Renly summoned Tywin's envoy, a gaunt knight. "Lord Tywin offers Casterly Rock's might to end the young wolf," he declared. Renly's eyes gleamed. "His desperation suits me," he told Margaery, deciding to meet Tywin's terms. Catelyn's warning, Lannisters betray, was drowned by visions of victory. Tyrion Lannister, chained below, learned of the alliance. "My father plays for power," he muttered, warning a guard. Renly, intrigued by Tyrion's cunning, considered his counsel, but Tywin's swords dazzled. Sansa, trembling, whispered to Catelyn, "Robb will fight." Her fear cut Brienne deep. Mace Tyrell at council demanded precedence. "We crowned you," he boomed, angering Stormlanders. Renly's charm soothed, but cracks widened. Loras, silent, gripped his sword, Margaery's influence a wound. Varys' rumours spread, hinting Loras undermined the queen, testing Renly's favour. Renly stood, voice firm. "We march north with Lannister aid. Robb will kneel." Catelyn's glare met Brienne's. Both saw peril. Brienne overheard a knight. "Tywin's gold buys loyalty, but at what cost?" Her loyalty wavered, the court's deceit clashing with her oath. Margaery planned a grand send-off, her spectacles binding lords. "Your reign unites Westeros." She purred, but Loras's scowl deepened. Renly clutched Tywin's letter, its promise of swords against Robb a double-edged blade. Stannis' defeat and Theon's flight faded, Tywin's alliance now the storm's heart. As night fell, Brienne patrolled, the shadows chill in the torches. Robb's defiance, Tywin's cunning, and Varys' schemes threatened Renly's crown. The Iron Throne gleamed, but its weight, alliances with treacherous lions and a fractured court, promised to unravel his golden dream as war loomed north. The Red Keep's gardens bloomed with intrigue, Renly Baratheon's crown gleaming under a noon sun. He walked with Margaery Tyrell, her green gown a match for his cloak, her smile masking unease. Tywin's alliance, swords against Robb Stark, was sealed, its promise of gold binding Renly's ambition. Brienne of Tarth, ever vigilant, trailed them, the shadows chill lingering. Arryn, Dawn's envoy, arrived, her dark eyes sharp. My father, Doran, offers support, she said, voice like honeyed steel. We know where Cersei hides with Tommen. Renly's brow arched, intrigued by Dorne's leverage. Marjorie's hand tightened on his arm, her jealousy flaring at Aryen's poise. Brienne, guarding the path, scanned Aryen's retinue, wary of hidden blades. Stannis' failed assassins had sharpened her senses, and Dorne's motives felt opaque. Loras Tyrell in Kingsguard white glowered nearby, his devotion to Renly clashing with Marjorie's sway. Snakes play games, he muttered, eyeing Aryen. Catelyn Stark joined them, her face stern. Dorne's aid comes at a price, Renly. Tywin's alliance already risks treachery. Renly's smile was sharp. Tywin's desperation serves me, and Dorne's secrets could end Cersei's schemes. Aryen's cryptic nod hinted at deeper Arryn plots. Sansa Stark, lingering, whispered to Catelyn, will Robb survive? Her fear cut Brienne, whose oath wavered amid intrigue. Varys' rumours, Loras's closeness weakening Marjorie, stirred Tyrell discord. Brienne overheard knights praising Tywin's gold, his troops massing for the north. In a cell, Tyrion Lannister, spared for his secrets, learned of Dorne's offer. My sister's a pawn now, he muttered, warning a guard of Arryn cunning. Renly, intrigued by Tyrion's mind, considered his counsel, but Tywin's swords dazzled. The northern campaign looming, Aryen dined with Renly, her wit charming. Dorne bends if you honour us, she said, hinting at Michella's safety in Sunspear. Marjorie's smile froze, her queenship threatened. Loras, serving wine, nearly spilled it, his jealousy a quiet storm. Brienne's eyes never left Aryen's hands. Catelyn pressed Renly later. Arryn and Lannister ties bind you to snakes and lions. Robb could still be won. Renly waved her off, Tywin's envoy's latest missive, troops ready, fueling his resolve. Dorne and Tywin secure my throne, he said, blind to their motives. Marjorie, alone with Renly, urged, use Aryen, then discard her. Her voice hid fear of Dorne's allure. Renly nodded, but Aryen's secrets and Tywin's gold dazzled. Brienne, patrolling, caught whispers of Arryn's spies, Tywin's ambition and Robb's defiance. As dusk fell, the gardens darkened, Aryen's offer a new thread in Renly's web. The shadow's echo lingered in Brienne's heart, Tywin's alliance and Dorne's game threatening to unravel his crown. The Iron Throne gleamed, but its storm, treachery, jealousy, and war grew fiercer. The Red Keep's council chamber flickered with torchlight, Renly Baratheon's crown casting shadows on the Iron Throne. Marjorie Tyrell, radiant, sat beside him, her influence a delicate blade. Tywin's alliance, swords against Robb Stark, was finalized, its gold binding Renly's ambition. Brienne of Tarth, guarding the door, felt the shadows chill, her oath strained by courtly deceit. Varys' rumours had spread. Loras Tyrell's closeness to Renly undermined Marjorie's queenship. Mace Tyrell, florid and furious, confronted Renly. Remove Loras from the Kingsguard, he demanded. His favour taints our house. Marjorie's smile froze, her brother's loyalty a threat to her power. Renly's voice was firm. Loras stays, he's my shield. Loras, in white cloak, stood rigid, his eyes fierce with devotion. Mace's glare clashed with Marjorie's calm, the Tyrells fracturing. Brienne, watching, saw Sansa Stark flinch, Robb's fate tied to Tywin's treacherous swords. Catelyn Stark, stern, warned, Tywin's alliance risks your reign, Renly. Arryn's offer hides thorns. Robb could still be won. Renly waved her off, clutching Tywin's latest missive, troops marching north. Lannister gold secures my throne, he said, blind to Mace's scowl. In a cell, Tyrion Lannister, spared for his secrets, muttered, my father's swords cut both ways. He warned a guard, but Renly, dazzled by Tywin's might, ignored him. Arryn's hint of Cersei's hiding stirred unease, Dorne's motives unclear. Brienne's heart sank, treachery loomed. Loras approached Renly privately, voice raw. Send Tywin's men away, my lord, we need no lions. Renly's touch steadied him, but Marjorie's voice cut through. Loras, serve silently, she snapped, her queenship paramount. Loras's jaw tightened, his loyalty torn between love and family. Brienne, patrolling, overheard knights praising Tywin's gold, some wavering from Renly. Varys' whispers fueled discord, and Aryen's charm swayed lesser lords. Brienne's oath wavered, the court's deceit clashed with her honor. She considered leaving, the shadows chill a warning of worse to come. Sansa, whispering to Catelyn, pleaded, save Robb. Catelyn's eyes met Brienne's, both saw Renly's hubris. Marjorie, hosting a feast, dazzled lords, but Mace's demand echoed, threatening Tyrell support. Renly's charm held, but cracks widened, Lannister and Arryn ties straining alliances. Renly finalized Tywin's terms, sending a raven, "March north with us." Tywin, desperate, agreed, his ambition veiled. Marjorie urged, "Use them, then discard them." Renly nodded, but Loras's pained gaze and Brienne's unease stirred doubt. The Iron Throne's weight pressed harder. As night cloaked the keep, Brienne stood watch, the shadows echo in the torches. The Tyrell rift, Tywin's cunning, and Robb's defiance threatened Renly's crown. Aryon's secrets and Varys' schemes wove a treacherous web. The throne gleamed, but its storm, fractured loyalties and perilous alliances raged fiercer, ready to unravel his golden dream. Snow swirled across the Frostfang's wooded ridge, the trident's icy breath cloaking Renly Baratheon's army. Green and gold banners mingled with Tywin Lannister's crimson, their uneasy alliance facing Robb Stark's wolves. Renly, crowned, rode at the vanguard, his confidence fraying. Brienne of Tarth, shielding him, gripped her sword, the shadow's chill lost to winter's bite. Robb's horn echoed and Northmen erupted from the trees, grey wind a grey blur. Arrows rained, felling reachmen. "Hold!" Renly shouted, but panic spread. Loras Tyrell, in Kingsguard white, charged, his blade flashing. "For Renly!" he roared, clashing with a Stark bannerman, blood spraying snow. Brienne drove her horse forward, cutting through a Northman, her strength shattering his shield. Guilt gnawed, Robb fought for home, not ambition. Tywin's knights, cold and precise, formed a wedge, their loyalty to Casterly Rock, not Renly. "Push them back," Tywin's envoy barked, gold fueling their steel. Robb, astride, rallied his men, his red hair a beacon. "For the north," he cried, slicing a Lannister knight. Catelyn Stark, at his rear, urged restraint, but Robb's fury burned. His wolves harried Renly's flanks, vanishing into snow, their blades biting deep. Renly faltered, Wildfire's memory haunting him. "We outnumber them," he insisted, clutching Tywin's letter. Randall Tarly, grim, shouted. "Their land fights for them." A Stark ambush struck the supply train, flames licking carts. Brienne shielded Renly, her sword a blur, blood soaking her boots. Loras fell unhorsed, a Northman's axe grazing his arm. Brienne hauled him up, her roar deafening. "Stay near the king," she ordered, her oath clashing with pity for Robb's cause. Tywin's men rallied, their charge breaking a northern line, but losses mounted, winter's grip tightening. In King's Landing, Marjorie Tyrell quelled riots, her regency strained. Sansa, hearing of the battle, prayed for Robb, her hope fading. Tyrion Lannister, chained, warned guards, "My father uses Renly to bleed the north." Varys' rumours of Loras's favour frayed Tyrell ties, Arryn's secrets looming. The battle turned as Robb withdrew, his wolves melting into the forest. Renly's forces held the ridge, but at cost, hundreds dead, supplies burned. "Victory," Renly claimed, voice hollow. Brienne, bloodied, saw Tywin's knights' cold eyes, their ambition clear. Catelyn's plea, "Parley, Renly." Echoed Robb's strength unbroken. As dusk fell, Renly's camp licked its wounds, Tywin's gold a bitter salve. Brienne stood watch, the shadows echo in the snow. Robb's defiance, Tywin's cunning, and Loras's pain threatened Renly's crown. The Iron Throne gleamed, but its storm, winter, treachery, and a battered alliance readied to test his reign. The Frostfang's bloodied ridge smoked under snow, Renly Baratheon's camp battered but standing. Green and gold banners hung limp beside Tywin Lannister's crimson, their alliance strained by the North's ferocity. Renly, crowned, met Robb Stark under a truce flag, his victory at Frostfang Hollow. Brienne of Tarth, guarding him, felt the shadows chill, her blade heavy with northern blood. Robb, scarred and gaunt, faced Renly, grey wind snarling. "The North bows to no Southron," he said, defiance unbroken despite losses. Catelyn Stark, weary, urged, "End this, Robb." Renly, voice strained, offered, "Autonomy under my crown. Refuse, and Tywin's swords finish you." Tywin's envoy smirked, gold sealing the threat. Brienne's gaze lingered on Robb, guilt gnawing. His cause was just, unlike Renly's ambition. Loras Tyrell, bandaged from the battle, hissed, "Make him kneel, my lord." His loyalty clashed with Catelyn's plea. Renly, gripping Tywin's letter, saw Robb waver, the Frostfang's toll etched in his eyes. Robb spat, "For my people, I agree." His voice broke, submission bitter. The parley ended, Northmen retreating. Renly's triumph rang false, Tywin's cold gaze a warning. Catelyn's eyes met Brienne's. Lannister treachery loomed. Sansa in King's Landing would mourn Robb's in the capital. Marjorie Tyrell, regent, calmed riots, her charm fraying. Mace Tyrell's rift over Loras deepened, Varys' rumours eroding trust. Tyrion Lannister chained warned guards, my father covets Renly's throne. Arion Arryn's hint of Cersei's hiding stirred unease, Dawn's game unclear. Renly returned to King's Landing, hailed but haunted. The Iron Throne, sharp and unyielding, awaited. Marjorie's touch steadied, but Loras's wounded glare and Brienne's silence cut deeper. Tywin's knights, loyal to Casterly Rock, whispered of power, their gold a double-edged blade. At a feast, minstrels sang of Frostfang, but whispers grew. Daenerys, far east, wielded dragons, her gaze turning west. Renly alone clutched the throne, its blades biting. I rule, he whispered, but Robb's pride, Sansa's tears, and Tyrion's warnings gnawed. Brienne stood watch, the shadows echo in the torchlight. Her oath held, but Renly's crown was fragile. Tywin's ambition, Arryn's schemes, and Daenerys' fire threatened it. The Frostfang's blood stained her, a reminder of war's cost. Loras's pain and Marjorie's regency teetered, the court fractured. Renly stared east, Daenerys' shadow faint but rising. The crown's burden crushed, heavier than iron. His golden reign, forged in battle and betrayal, stood on ice, the storm of dragons and treachery brewing. Brienne's sword, steadfast, guarded a king whose dream wavered, poised to crack under Westeros' endless war.